Hi Maniacs. Happy Phantasmal Flames release. Finally, we have the Charizard set that everyone has been waiting for. This set has been pretty well hyped over the past few months since we first saw the first artworks, the look of the ETB and all the other boxes, the UPC and everything. So today, I thought we should dig into an Elite Trainer box and talk a bit more about the set. As a side note, the ETB itself looks incredible. I really like the colors, I like the logo, I like everything that they have done. And I think a lot of people have fallen in love with the look of this set, even before we actually knew what was in it. Player's guide. Pretty cool sleeves. We have the Black Star promo, as well as the card dividers. Energy pack, a dice set, and a Charizard coin that has seen better days, it seems. And then we have 9 packs of Phantasmal Flames. Also a pretty cool looking art set. Okay, so Phantasmal Flames has finally released, and I actually got this ETB and some other products about a week ago, or like the Monday of this week. And I did that because we do have in Denmark finally some certified play stores who can actually put some of the products for sale before release, which is a pretty cool concept, and I guess it's the same in most countries, that you can actually get your hands on brand new sets before they officially release, which as a true nerd is super cool. So I'm very excited to actually witness the set before we actually truly have the release today. And let's see what it actually looks like in person. I haven't really done much research on the set. I've just seen, obviously the Charizard that everyone is talking about. It's insane. I've seen the gold card. But nothing too detailed about the set has come across my For You page or anything. So I'm going into this, with the first time intrigue and the first time knowing what's actually in here. And so far, I think the set is pretty cool. I have opened just a tiny bit on my own. I do think something interesting is happening in the market with this set. And it is the fact that I think already before release we are seeing kind of a dip in price. That's a cool EX. Very nice. And what I mean by that is, like with the UPC and everything that's coming out very soon, we're already seeing prices go down. We saw this at least in Denmark with pre-orders. If you had pre-ordered this set a couple of weeks ago, you've gotten a much higher price than what you can actually pre-order or order at now that we are at the release. So I do think it's a good indicator of what I also spoke about in one of my latest videos, that I do think the market is kind of moving to a more stable and more easily accessible state where prices are going down. And I'm not sure if it's like an interest thing. I do still feel like the interest is there. Like in the market, the hype is there. I feel like, a lot of content creators, like yours truly, are, getting their hands into the Pokemon business and into, grading, everything like that. I feel like there's still a lot of stuff going on that was kind of the reason that we got to this state in the beginning. So I'm not sure if it's maybe the lack of hype for the sets coming up. I feel like maybe Japanese and Chinese has seen a bit more hype lately than English sets has. And I'm not sure if that's kind of affecting the market in any way. But this also happens to, older products, known products that are more expensive already. So I do think that it's kind of interesting that we are seeing this already. Another EX, pretty cool. I usually say that a good ETB has at least 3 illustration rares, art rares, and then 2 EXs, right? But we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I find it interesting that the market is going down the way that it is, and that it's doing it now. I find it to be kind of odd. I know that we are expecting more prints of all the sets, like more print runs, more printing facilities, being able to support the demand. So of course, it's very simple market math that, if there is more stuff available, it's less sought after, or at least less, expensive, because it's easier to get. Oh, that's so pretty. Look at that. Yeah, so I mean, it's just the fact that even though we are expecting more prints, we have still seen that allocations have been kind of tricky. At least that's what I'm hearing, you know, that people are still not really receiving the product they're ordering. A lot of people still want to get into, you know, distribution and everything, so that in that way the market really hasn't changed, at least from what I understand and what I see. But prices and interest somewhat in like maybe more on like the private collector side, I definitely feel like is shifting like as we speak. So I'm interested in seeing where this is gonna hit. Oh, cool! I didn't even realize this was a full art. Yeah, my take is that probably this set is gonna tank when we get further into the Mega era. I feel like we've seen it before with either the Charizard sets in general, or otherwise with sets that only seem to have really like one big hit. It's not really something that just keeps, you know, rising in value, and it doesn't seem to be something that people are that interested in. I do agree, like the artworks on this, like both on the box and everything is insane, and also the chase card is probably the most beautiful chase card I've seen in my time collecting, at least in my time collecting actively. So I do understand like why this wouldn't be the case, but I just feel like we're already seeing the tendencies that's going to lead to that actually being the case. So I also do find that kind of interesting and maybe even hard to believe, but just with prices already settling a little bit and things starting to feel more normal, or like back to the way it was when I started collecting a few years ago at least, I do really feel like that's what's gonna happen. So that can be good and it can be bad. It depends on your perspective, I guess. But for, you know, the collectors, I do think that this is a pretty good way that the market is turning in this direction now. But also for up-and-coming businesses, I have been speaking about not being able to get distribution in some of my previous videos, and I do think that that's a big part of, you know, doing business in Pokemon is getting distribution and having access to products in different ways than you would as a consumer, which is basically all that I have right now. So I do think for the most part it will definitely be interesting, and I think that we're going to see something exciting in the coming months in terms of prices and allocations and everything in between. So let's see if we can get final hit. No? Oh my god. Well, once again, happy release date. I'm so happy that we now can get our hands on Phantasmal Flames everywhere, or at least as long as people have stock, which I do think is longer than usual. But yeah, that's pretty nice, and I'm so excited. I hope that you guys hit something awesome. Not really the greatest opening of all time from me right here, but it's still such a cool set, and I'm excited to see what's coming up in the next few months from Pokemon and where we are heading with pricing and everything like that. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. I think you would really like the video that I'm showing on the screen here, so check that out. If you want to see me rip more stuff and talk more Pokemon, go look at my channel. There's so much there. Click the subscribe button and remember to like the video and hit the bell notification so you'll know when I go live, which I also do on this channel. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in. Have a nice day. Bye bye.